I'm here to tell you a special story about my son, Cameron. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, if he's your son, then I'm sure you do think he's special. And that's probably a fair statement, but I think when I'm through today telling you Cameron's story, that each of you will agree with me that he is a very special young man. First, though, I would like to show you a short video clip of Cameron in a comedy skit that he wrote and performed in.
Not the monkey? Oh, not the monkey! Oh, the monkey! Oh, the monkey!
Hey, Bob, are we having lunch today?
Just stay out of my way! Don't let it be the monkey! Don't let it be the monkey! Don't let it be the monkey! Ah, the monkey! No!
You're funny when you do it, and that's kind of funny, the monkey being there. And I don't know what made, for me, that's about it that's funny about the whole thing.
I love it. I love the monkey.
Well, I can see that you all enjoyed Cameron's comedy skit, and I'm really glad, and I know that he is as well. Cameron was even funny as a child, but unfortunately, that humor got him into a lot of trouble when he was in school. I knew every year it was the same thing. I would get a call the first week of school from Cameron's teacher. They always said the same thing. Cameron is very destructive in class, but to be honest, it is hard to tell him to stop because he is very funny. You see, Cameron was the class clown that I'm sure a lot of you have had in your classes. Or maybe we have a few class clowns in here today. I used to call him Cam the Ham. When Cameron was in the first grade, he decided that, or insisted, that he wanted to be an angel instead of a shepherd in his school Christmas play. Walking down the school hall, dressed in his angel costume, Cameron looked up at me with huge, fearful eyes and said, "Mom, do you think it was a dumb idea that I wanted to be an angel instead of a shepherd?" And I told Cameron no, that he should always do what he felt was right for him. He sang a solo in the play, and afterwards was told that he was the hit. Cameron had found something that he could do where it was okay to be Cam the Ham. When Cameron was in the 6th grade, he came to me one day and told me that he had made a decision. He told me that he had decided that when he grew up that he wanted to be a teacher. I told Cameron that this was a very good goal to have, but that he was going to have to take school a lot more seriously because not only would he have to graduate from high school, but he would have to graduate from college as well. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure that college was something that Cameron could accomplish because school had always been so difficult for him. But just in case, I set up a college fund a savings account that I refer to as his college fund. And I continued to encourage Cameron and tell him the importance of graduating from high school. Something I wasn't sure was going to happen even up to 3 days before Cameron was to graduate. You see, Cameron was retaking the exit exam for the 3rd time. If he failed, he would not be able to graduate with his class. I remember being so very angry because he had waited until the last minute to take the test in the first place. But Cameron's Aunt Debbie told me that I should put my anger aside because this was a very special event in Cameron's life. I took her advice and I sat down and I wrote Cameron a letter. In the letter, I told him that in a lot of ways that he and I were different. I am the type of person that must always do the right thing no matter what. I told him that he was the type of person that did the right thing, but in his own way and his own time. I told him that I actually envied his ability to be so laid back, and that I thought that maybe what we could do was put the good that he had and the good that I had together to make this world that was full of so much hate and confusion a better place. Cameron and I did that after that. And oh yes, he passed his test and he graduated with his class. After graduation, Cameron enlisted in the Navy Reserves. That's him in the back row with his head cocked to the side. He's still wanting to be different. And he doesn't look very happy, does he? But the Navy Reserves was very good for Cameron, and it gave him the confidence that he needed, that he could go to college. So when he came back here, he started attending classes at Florida Community College, and later transferred to Florida State University. Along with wanting to be a teacher, Cameron also wanted to be an actor. So, as a lot of you know, Florida State University has an excellent drama department. So being accepted at Florida State was a dream come true for Cameron. Then, right before coming home for Thanksgiving break, Cameron went to the on-campus doctor to get medication for his asthma. While he was waiting to see the doctor, he picked up a pamphlet and started reading about testicular cancer. When he went in to see the doctor, he told the doctor that he feared that he had this cancer. He told the doctor that he was in the age group between the ages of 14 and 35. He was at 30 to 40% higher risk because when he was born, one of his testicles had to be brought down surgically, and he had been swollen for the last couple of months. The doctor examined Cameron and told him that he was 99% sure that he was correct, that he did have testicular cancer. Cameron came home and went to a urologist who confirmed the diagnosis. Surgery was performed to remove the tumor, and then we were sent to an oncologist who is a doctor who specializes in cancer treatment. The oncologist told us that Cameron had two choices. He could have surgery to remove lymph nodes, which would determine if there were any more cancer cells in his body, or he could have close checks, which would require x-rays around every 6 weeks. Cameron chose the surgery. After the surgery, we were given the most wonderful news. We were told that he did not have any cancer cells in his body, so therefore he would not require chemotherapy. Cameron went back to Florida State University and he graduated. And yes, he graduated certified to teach 6th to 12th grade. I cannot tell each of you how very proud I was. After everything he had endured, 2 major surgeries and the fear of death, he still graduated. He came back here and he started trying to find a teaching job, but was unsuccessful at first. So he started working at American Online, but he didn't give up his dream to be a teacher. He continued to pursue that, and he made plans to start graduate school. Then, on Saturday, November 22nd, 1997, I received a call around 10 o'clock at night from Cameron's friend, Wendy. She told me that Cameron was being taken to a nearby hospital because he had just had a seizure. When I arrived at the hospital, the doctor told me that a brain scan showed that the cancer was back and that Cameron had 2 tumors in his brain. The next day, the doctors gave us more bad news. They told us that Cameron also had cancer in one of his lungs and in his liver. But they told Cameron that this was a fight that they hoped that he would win. They recommended a total of 13 radiation treatments to fight the cancer in Cameron's brain and 15 chemotherapy treatments to fight the cancer in his lung and his liver. After the doctor left, it was just Cameron and I in this hospital room. And I looked at him as the sun shined down on his face. And I told him that I knew that he was the kind of person that always put everyone else's feelings ahead of his own. But that this was a time when he needed to think about only his feelings. And that I needed him to tell me what we could do to help him through this fight that he had ahead of him. And he looked at me and he said, "Mom, I just don't want everyone to be sad." Cameron was released from the hospital in time for Thanksgiving dinner, and we honored his request. We had a wonderful Thanksgiving dinner that day, and on Friday, he and I spent the day together. Friday night, he went out with friends and stayed out past midnight playing Cosmo bowling. But on Saturday, Cameron woke up with a terrible headache. And by Sunday, his headache was so bad, I was forced to take him back to the hospital. After we arrived at the hospital, another brain scan showed that in spite of the fact that Cameron had had 4 radiation treatments, that the tumor in his brain had grown and that he was bleeding in his brain. The doctor called me out into the hall and told me that the news was not good. I said, "You're trying to tell me that Cameron won't make it, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." I asked him to please tell me how long. And he looked at me with the saddest look that I've ever seen. And I said, "You're trying to tell me that it could be only hours, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." Cameron did die at 2:30 a.m. on December 1st, 1997. He died in the same hospital that he was born in, with me by his side. The last thing that I said to Cameron was, "Cameron, when you were born and I saw you for the first time, I told you that I didn't have a clue what to do with you, so I supposed we'd have to figure it out together. You were my angel here on earth, and now you are an angel in heaven. And I know that you will help me figure out how to deal with losing you." The next day, while I was busy trying to plan Cameron's funeral and help his many friends and family deal with this awful loss, I realized what I must do. I realized that I must tell as many people as possible Cameron's story. That is why I came here today to talk to you. Not to make you sad or cry about Cameron's young death, but to ask you to please help bring some good out of it. Cameron never once complained after finding out that he had cancer in 4 places in his body. He never once asked, "Why me?" The only thing he said was that he wanted to hurry up and get a teaching job so he could help as many kids as possible. I guess God needed a special teacher in heaven. I truly believe that Cameron's death was not due to a lack of medical help. Testicular cancer is normally very, very curable. I believe that it was God's will. God wanted me to take this nightmare and turn it into something good. We all need to do what Cameron did, be angels here on earth and make this planet that God made for us the best it can be. I would like to read a poem now that was written by a very good friend of Cameron's. We gaze at the stars imaginary ones will do. Whatever it takes just to be with you. Wrapped in your arms, our heartbeats combine, so close together, our souls intertwine. The dreaded day has come to say goodbye, but our love will last, it's obvious why. Our love is so strong, it will stay through the years, it will shine in our laughter and brave through our tears. You are gone now, but remain in our souls. Left with thoughts of you, our hearts remain whole. I would like to show you another video now where Cameron talks about how the death of his young friend Mike touched him and how he felt about death.
Amy started hanging out. We just end up hanging out. And we can't hang out without cameras, so we end up making everybody else hang out too. So we ended up going over to Heather's house, and then she like really got deep into this discussion about her dad and how he passed away. So then it like really set me off. So I decided, you know, I would share, and I started telling her I had a friend who passed away. 16. And it was like one of my friends. He like was holding the gun when it went off. And it was just an accident. You know, we'd always gone to Jason's house, and Jason would be showing us his dad's gun. And one time, I guess the gun was loaded, and it went off and like shot Mike in the face. And I don't know, Jason's like really screwed up now.
And like, you were there?
I wasn't there, luckily. I went to bed, and then like 2 hours later, my mom, I heard the phone ring, and I answered it because I had a phone in my room, and it was Mike's mom, and she was like, Cameron, let me talk to your mom right now. And I was like, all right. And I heard my mom freaking out, going like, yeah, really, really? And then I came out there, and she like broke it to me really bad. It was like, I got something bad to tell you, Mike's dead. There's been an accident, Mike's dead. And so I got in my car, and I drove to the Fields house, and I like stayed there for like 4 days, like through the whole thing, and it really sucked. I think it definitely changes you and molds you. I mean, I don't think death's a bad thing for the people that live through it, because you can learn from it.
I came here today to share with you Cameron's message. Believe in your dreams. Work hard enough and you can make them happen. Whatever your dreams are, to become a pilot, an actress, or an actor, or a teacher. If you work hard enough and you believe, then you can make that happen. If Cameron did it, so can you. Thank you for having me.
Cameron took it real well. He didn't let it affect us. Didn't let it come in between our friendship, and it was just, I'd sit there and I'd look at him and wonder what was he thinking about it, you know. After the year after, everything was going good, right up until the week that he had the seizure. After the seizure, that week was really weird. And when we went to see him in the hospital, it didn't seem to show in his eyes or anything.
He handled what he was put on this earth to go through so very well. I have never known of anybody being so graceful and so caring of other people's feelings. I know if it was I with the news that he had received, I don't believe that I could think of all the other people around me and what they felt. I believe that I would have wanted to pack my bags and take off to Hawaii or play very hard, but not Cameron. He didn't want anybody to be sad. He didn't want talk about it. If you didn't know, you wouldn't believe that anything was wrong. And that's why it was such a shock, because I just couldn't believe that anything was wrong. He was an unselfish, determined, independent, loving young man. And no one ever can partway fill his shoes. We'll always miss him.
He was one of the few people that, when I first met him, I thought, he runs head on into everything, and a lot of people would talk to me like, that guy, he's crazy. But, in the end, it turns out he's one of the few people I've met with real integrity,
He was just I don't like to use the term class clown, because he wasn't a clown. He was just Cameron.
Well, that song came from early morning we had before high school, like in the 11th grade. We'd get together earlier in school and go hang out in the mornings, go eat and stuff. And that one morning it was foggy. We were cruising along and listening to some jazz, and he was one of the few people you could listen to jazz with, because he was pretty much open to anything. And it's just a good memory. So I had to document that somehow, as some kind of, to give something, for that memory, to keep it forever,